Hi, my name is Amanda. I am a coach and a trans channel, and you're about to see something very unique. I feel that it is very important for me to practice what I preach. And by that, I mean that it is important for me as a coach to be always doing my own inner work. And for that reason, I have my own coach. And it's important for me to do this for a few reasons. One, I want to be able to clear my own mind of my own doubts and my own fears and my own perceived biases, limitations, and limiting beliefs so that I can hold a safe space for my clients and not project those things onto my clients, and hold a very clean, clear, and unbiased space for them to express themselves and move through whatever they need to in that moment. The second part of this is to be able to be a clear channel for the trans channeling work that I do. The more doubts, fears, limitations that I hold inside of me, the more they clog my ability to receive clear transmissions. And so working through that stuff myself allows me to access higher frequency information and not interject my own belief systems onto those messages, so they come through really clearly in the intent with the intention that they wanted to. And finally, fear holds us back in a lot of ways. And as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, I always am aiming to push myself outside of my comfort zone so I can grow both personally and also professionally. And particularly someone that does a lot of spiritual work in their profession and for their job and for my own enjoyment, I've had to move through a lot of discomfort putting that stuff out in the open and talking about it very openly. And there are times where that fear has kind of come up for me and I've had to work through it. And we talk a lot about fear and how fear holds you back and how to work through fear, but nobody ever really shows what it actually looks like to work through it. We talk about working through it, but what does that actually look like in grounded, tangible terms? And so what you're about to see is me working through it. So you can visually see what that looks like. I got together with a friend of mine and I asked her to coach me through something very specific that I was dealing with at the time. And we used a tool called the Embodiment Rating Scale, which is a tool that we've both learned from the Institute of Coaching Mastery, where we are both becoming certified as master coaches there. And it is a tool used to help you move through whatever fears or blocks or perceived limitations are stopping you from playing full out in your life, in your business, in your relationships, wherever you're feeling blocked and scared, to really open up to your full potential. And so you're going to see her coaching me through something very specific that I was working through at the time. And it's a very vulnerable and authentic moment that you're about to witness. And I think it's going to be fascinating for you to, one, see what it's like to be coached by somebody, and two, see what it's like to be moving through something on that level and in that capacity, just for your own curiosity and enjoyment. And if this is work that you are fascinated by and you would like to know what it feels like to move through that personally, go to my website, reach out to me, and this is what I do. So allow me to help you move through that if and whenever you are ready to. AmandaLaurenBlau.com. I hope you enjoy it.
I have like two aspects to my business. I have a coaching aspect to it, and then I have a channeling aspect to it. And I have been very resistant around fully embracing the channeling part. It feels uncomfortable to do so. Like when I go out to a party and people say, "So what do you do for a living?" I typically tell them I'm a coach. And then they'll say, "What kind of coach?" And then I'll say I'm a life coach. And I just got comfortable doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't mention the other part of my business, which is the part of my business that I'm actually the most inspired by.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel deeply connected with that part of the work that I do, not only professionally, but like very personally connected to it, where if I didn't have to work ever again or chose not to, I would continue to do it just for my personal self connection and
Okay.
yeah, but there's something like oddly, it's witnessing another person's discomfort of me that I'm still not fully comfortable with. I understand that that's a production of where I'm not comfortable within myself. And
Mhm.
so being able, I feel like I'm getting to the point, just to get to my point, where I'm ready to like let that bullshit go and fully embrace this part of myself that has manifested recently. And I just want to feel that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what are the thoughts right now that are keeping you maybe from experiencing that fully? What are you telling yourself? How do you hear that inside of you? Are any judgments?
I find myself like, it's like I'm anticipating all of their thoughts and judgments, right? And
Hmm.
like knowing what, pretending to know what they are, pretending like whatever I deem to be what might be present for them, knowing that that's what they're thinking about me. And then knowing I can't do anything about it, but wishing that I could.
And what would that give you, knowing that you could do something about it? Or like what is it that you're seeking?
Credibility.
Is it credibility from others? So like the thought of others that they think that you're credible as a coach.
Yeah.
And what would that give you if you knew that other people thought, hey, she's a credible coach?
Um,
What's the deeper desire underneath
like, like confidence, I guess. Yeah.
that? And if you
I'd be like, it gives me permission to like fully own who I am and what I do and have confidence in it.
okay, so
If they,
confidence
yeah,
gives you that permission to fully own that.
yeah,
Can you see how it's looping? So it's like one
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
If they think I'm credible, then I can be confident, then I can fully embrace it. But if
yeah,
they
yeah,
don't, then
yeah.
I can't.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you have some post-its set up behind you, because we talked about it. Are you open to exploring the rating scale tool and just explore on a scale from 1 to 10 where you are now and just see what goes with that?
Okay.
And then if you're open to it, I'd love for you towards the end to step onto a 10 and then see how you fully play out and just explore if you're open to that.
Okay. Yeah.
Amazing. So let's just tune in for a moment. Close your eyes and we can step on the numbers here in a moment, but tune in. Where are you on a scale from 1 to 10? Where are you playing out right now?
I feel like I'm a solid 7.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you want to get up and just step on that 7 and just see what goes with that? Amazing. Are you okay to close your eyes or just tune in, whatever feels comfortable for you, and just notice what that's like to live from this place of a 7? What thoughts go with that? What feelings or behaviors? Just to bring more awareness to that part of you.
It's like a sadness and a loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
Like a like a sadness that I can't fully embrace who I am. And also like a loneliness because I feel like I'm holding who I am at bay.
Mm-hmm. And if you just tune into that sadness and loneliness, do you and do any experiences or memories come up? Any past experiences? Is this feeling new or is it familiar?
It's a familiar feeling, but it's not brought on from like a particular incident. I feel like it's something that has been permeating beneath the surface for a really, really long time. And I have never like um I guess had to put myself in a position where I would be open in my own mind to someone else's judgment in a way that this is now forcing me to. Because the other activities that I was doing or the identity I was taking on was widely accepted, and this one is not.
Oh, so what I'm seeing is there's this part of you is going against something that's normal. It's going against the norm. It's going against the grain. And I
Yeah,
hear some fear of losing credibility, potentially, of not
yeah,
having. Is that
yeah,
accurate? Yeah.
100%.
Okay. And do you feel that in your body at all if you tune in?
Yeah, I do. It's like a tingling, like twitchy feeling in my gut,
Mm-hmm.
like a nervous energy.
Yeah. And if that energy were to speak, would you allow it to say something? Would you allow it to just openly talk?
I feel like she's fucking ready, if I'm being honest. Like it's more tiring to sit at the 7 than it probably is to embrace the 10. And I I feel like I'm like teetering on the edge of the cliff.
Mm, okay.
And I'm just trying to get like a sense of like what's holding me back exactly. Um, and I think it just comes down to that credibility piece. Like at the 7, I'm still kind of hiding a little bit. And so I don't fully lose that credibility. But once I jump to the 10, then there's going to be a huge divide between the people that think I'm an absolute nutcase and the people who are like, oh, I think that she has some interesting things to say.
Yeah. And are you open to exploring what that would feel like if people just thought you're an absolute nutcase? Just totally wacko, totally not
Yeah,
normal. This is not cool. What is
yeah,
this?
yeah.
Let's explore that a little bit. What would that feel like? Knowing that there's people that might just think you're totally weird
Well, they already do. Like, I'm already visibly talking about this stuff on the internet. I'm just not showcasing it as much as I could be. I'm still kind of like shielding people from like the fullness of it and
Mm-hmm.
therefore shielding myself from their discomfort of me.
Yeah,
Um, sorry, what was your question?
that's okay. Just, I wonder if you're open to just exploring what that feels like if you fully just explore feeling that that people think you're a total weirdo or you're a total nutcase.
Yeah, so it would feel like me, like standing on live television, being broadcast to like the entire world, and for me to be like, I talk to spirits, like that's what that would be.
Hmm.
So like nowhere to hide. Um,
Yeah.
would that be the 10?
No, just I just wanted to just kind of see what that would feel like for a moment.
Yeah, like
I can
that's,
see you laughing about it. So I'm just wondering what goes with that.
well, it's just funny. Like nobody cares. Like they can just change a channel, right? Like, like essentially in my mind, that's like the image that comes to mind. Like for me to be fully open, it would be like me standing on live television being like, I channel spirit. And people being like, okay. And then like, like to me, it's this big deal. But like no one else really cares. It doesn't affect them. It doesn't affect their life. And so if they don't want to look at it, they just turn the channel off. And so when
Yeah.
I think about it that way, like it's kind of ridiculous to be so concerned about this. Um, I think like being in the 10, like I haven't stepped on the number yet, but just in anticipation of it, it's probably not standing on it that's scary, but it's the like the build up towards it that is kind of the impression
Okay. Why don't we step on the 10?
I'm getting. Okay.
Because often, whenever you're ready, just letting you know that often, most times actually, not playing full out is a lot harder. Even being 99% all in, and that 1%, that resistance can be so draining. So why not, whenever you're ready, step on that 10. Take all the time you want.
Um,
It's okay. If you're not ready, that's totally fine.
no,
What's
I just
happening?
wanted to let you in on what's happening for me,
Yeah, absolutely.
which is very surprising. It's like stepping on the 10 means saying goodbye to who I am now
Yeah.
and like who I've always known. And so I think that there's a part of me that's like afraid to, or doesn't want to say goodbye. I don't know if that makes any
It
sense.
does. It does.
I guess like I'm not really sure like who that version of me is and like what they're gonna do and like what's available to me as that version of me. And so that was like a weird feeling that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah. Are you open to a reflection to what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
It's very interesting seeing that you were about to take that step, and it's like as if it was an invisible wall in front of you. You just couldn't. And what I'm seeing when you're just talking about that, being afraid that that part of you is dying, it's like when we step out of our comfort zone, we become somebody else. And
Yeah.
there's a French expression, it's called la petite mort, which is the little death. And it's actually the death of the ego.
Yeah.
So it's a death and a rebirthing kind of situation.
Yeah.
And it's totally normal to be scared. It is totally okay. Because this part of you that's scared right now, it's the ego's worst nightmare to die and to step into something completely different because the ego projects fear onto the unknown. So it's totally okay to be scared. Does this make sense?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. It's like
Yeah.
my ego saying, but I know you now. I don't know you there. And so I can't control what I don't know.
Right.
So I want to keep you right where I have my fingers in all the pots. Um, but as we're talking it through, I feel like I just needed to get that out. I feel like I'm ready.
Okay. Let's do it whenever you're ready. Just knowing that you're absolutely safe right here and right now.
Can I step on the 8?
Absolutely. And do you want, before you step on the 8, let's embrace that part of you that's scared of dying, that's
It's
scared of letting go. Would
it's
that
like
help you?
what's happening is that it's like the saying goodbye part.
Hmm.
It's like I'm not ready to say goodbye. So I'm like trying to take a step forward and not make that mean death. But like that part of me can come, right?
Yes.
It's just not the part of me that's fully present. So that's just,
Yes.
I feel comfortable taking like a small step. So can I do an 8?
Absolutely.
Okay. This feels the same.
It's ironic, isn't it?
Can I take another step?
Absolutely.
Okay.
What's happening? I see you laughing again. Like that part of you is back from
Because
earlier.
it's such a small exercise, but it's so powerful. So I'm just kind of like laughing at myself while I'm going through this emotional experience that's kind of indicative of my entire life. So I'm just having like a small moment of like self-awareness, I guess.
Love that. So how does that feel being on that 10? Okay.
I'm just like seeing these other numbers as like the old versions of me.
Hmm.
And I'm just so grateful, you know? Like I wouldn't be me without them. And they're not gone. They're not dead. They're still here.
Right.
I can see them, right? They're still here. And
And
so
you
this version of me is just capable of embracing them
that's right.
And whereas those versions of me were not capable of doing that yet. And I think that's the difference.
Yeah. Are you willing to speak to those younger parts of you directly and just offer that to them, what you just shared with me? Just pick
Yeah.
them up.
Like, thank you so much for showing up as you. And I'm so sorry that you felt like you weren't enough. But this version of me sees the truth where you couldn't, which is that you were perfect. You just didn't see it yet. And you had to go through that evolution in order to get here. And like, there are still numbers there. There's an 11, there's a 12, there's a 13. I don't see them yet. They haven't manifested yet. But it feels like very safe to be right now.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let's breathe that in, that safety, and just really ground that. Just anchor that in. Where do you notice this safety in your body?
I mean, that like butterfly feeling is kind of still in my stomach, but it feels more grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's less resistance around it than there was before.
Yeah. And what else goes with that 10? Is there any expansion, any hand gestures? What else would help you to really ground this in your experience right now? What's happening?
Just like an excitement, like an energy.
Mm,
Yeah. Like I was suppressing it before and now it's free to just move and I feel more energized.
yeah. Are you willing to step back on the 7 just for a moment and just maybe look into the direction of the 10, that version of you that's expansive, that can laugh about yourself, just doesn't take things seriously. That's there for you too. How do you, how does this part receive it? The feeling of, I'm here for you. You're not dead. You're not dying. I'll take you with me to the 10 and beyond.
It feels good. And it also feels like permission to take my time getting there. Like there's less shame
Good.
around being here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does that part have anything else to say? Is there any more judgment or fear, sadness and loneliness?
Gratitude because like this is the journey of life.
Yeah.
Personal evolution.
Yeah.
Represented in post-its. And to be able to move through this life with the self-awareness to be able to see it that way is such a gift because
Oh,
we all move through this,
yeah.
but we're just not aware of the transformational aspect of it. We're just so hyper focused on like the current experience and all the judgment and shame and sadness and fear that we have of it. And being able to like zoom out and look at it this way, it's like, holy shit, like this is why I fucking came here, was for this. And it gets to keep going. Like it doesn't stop now at the 10. And it's like a physical representation of my own evolution. And that's so cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. How does that feel?
Feels really good.
You basically just shared it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So from this new awareness, would you like to compassionately forgive some of the judgments you've had around the 7 that you've been playing out as? Could be something like, I forgive myself for buying to the misunderstanding that I don't have the confidence and credibility to be the channel that I want to be, the coach that I want to be.
I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that I am not enough as the 7. The truth is that I am enough and have always been enough in each and every single number. The difference between those numbers and the 10 is that at the 10, I realize that. And that is the only difference. It's the full realization of my wholeness, my enoughness, whereas at each subsequent number, it's realizing that a little bit more as I move forward. And that's, I think, the representation of my life as a whole is that the more I undergo this evolutionary process, the more I'm just embracing my enoughness with each subsequent movement. And that's so exciting to know that there's so much more left to go. Because when I get to the 20 and I look back at the 10, like, that's cool. Who that person is, that's going to be really exciting. And it's okay that I'm not there yet. It's just exciting that there's more available to me.
I love that.
Yeah.
So instead of that fear and that shame of like, oh, I'm only here, it's like, I get to be here. But look at what the others, like, look at all this other stuff that's so
exactly
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so much better. That's so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's a coincidence that subconsciously, unconsciously, however you want to put it, I have chosen a career that is forcing me to push the boundaries of this, right? And this is just the path through which I have chosen to do that work.
Yeah.
And that is a gift that it has given me, that I've given myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Is there any other forgivenesses you'd like to, or judgments you'd like to forgive? Like, I forgive myself for judging myself for wanting to do something that's against the norm. The truth is, or I'm afraid of judgment from others, and the truth is, I was judging myself.
I forgive myself for the misunderstanding that I don't know who I am. The truth is that I'm discovering who I am as I move along. And not fully embracing my wholeness, my enoughness is just an indication that I haven't discovered aspects of myself yet to fall in love with. And as I progress forward in embracing each new part that I discover, I'm discovering parts of me and I'm learning to love those parts. Yeah.
I love that for you. It's so great to see you like that, just fully opening up.